Hello, my name's Tim Wood. I'm a procurement officer from North Yorkshire County Council, and I've been working on this approved provider list procurement, which is now live on your tender. And I just want to talk about Volume 5, which is the application form, specifically Part 4, but I'm just quickly going to touch on some of the other areas because the procurement is live and we've had a couple of questions come in. So I'll just cover some areas that questions have come in about, and then I'll move on to Part 4, which is the quality questions, which is towards the end of that Volume 5 application form. But this is the new approved provider list for home-based support, residential nursing care homes, community-based support and supported living. It starts on the 1st of November this year, the new APLs. New work will be awarded through those lists. So if you're a current provider and you want new work, which I sincerely hope you do, then you'll need to apply through this new list. Existing packages of care will continue as legacy packages. So if you don't want any new work for whatever reason, you will keep those existing care packages. But if for whatever reason they stop and then restart, they would restart as a new package of care, and therefore through the new approved provider lists. In order to get new work, you need to be on the new list. So I hope that makes sense. There are guidance videos which Go for Growth have helped us with on other areas of the application form. We'll provide those links for you. I've been through the application form videos. I really hope they're clear and they're helpful, and they'll instruct you how to how to complete the form. I do appreciate the form looks quite big and intimidating. Sadly, quite a lot of it is mandatory. The council doesn't have any power to reduce the number of questions, etc. They're all set by government, and the vast majority are tick box ones. So hopefully you'll be able to speed through the form. Not all of the form needs to be completed. If you're not part of a parent, if you don't have a parent company, there are bits you don't have to answer, etc. So whilst it looks quite intimidating, I think you'll be able to get through it quite quickly. So parts 1 and 2 are pretty much mandatory tick box forms. There are some little bits to fill in around company number, company name, address, etc., but most of it's just tick box. We've had a few questions on part 3 around references and insurance. I'll just quickly cover that. References should be your host local authority. So if you're based in North Yorkshire and you do work with North Yorkshire County Council, then North Yorkshire County Council should be your reference. If you don't do work with your host local authority, you can pick another relevant example and try and make it relevant to the list you're applying for. In terms of insurance, we've had questions around if the insurance form needs to be signed. Ideally, it does. We would appreciate third-party evidence that you have those insurances in place. So ideally signed by your insurance company or broker. But if not, we'll accept an email trail as evidence. So an email from your insurance company or broker to you, which you then forward to us, we'd accept that as evidence. And that moves us on to part 4 of the application form, which is the quality section. And this is a section I'll be covering in most detail. So Hannah, I don't know if you could present that.
I can certainly try. Bear with me. Right, let's have a look. So volume 5 application form. Here we go. Tell me if you can see that, Tim.
See that? Yep. If it can be made slightly bigger, I don't know if it can. If not, I'll just talk through it.
Okay.
That's great. Yeah. So as you can see on the screen, that's part 4. This is the quality questions. So we're not evaluating price as part of the procurement. Hannah's going to talk about the pricing element, but we are evaluating quality. This is going to be done over 9 questions. 5 of the questions are scored, and that's made clear on that right-hand column. 2 of the questions are information only, and 2 of the questions are threshold. So the threshold questions are around safeguarding and safety and business continuity plans. If you just scroll down slightly, Hannah, and we'll see the threshold questions. Yep, that's fine. So you can see the safeguarding and safety one there. It's made clear on the right-hand side how you pass that threshold, i.e. you will need to answer yes to that question in order to proceed. If you answer no, I'm afraid we won't be able to take your application any further. There are threshold questions in the general application form, and it's always made clear how you can pass that threshold. But in terms of this quality element, there are only 2 threshold requirements. There are some information only questions. So these questions are not scored as part of the evaluation process. However, your response will allow us to allocate a red, amber, green rating or a RAG rating to yourselves, and this will determine how soon following appointment to the approved provider list that we do something called the quality conversation. Now, this quality conversation is part of the, it's a quality monitoring tool. It's mentioned in the procurement, but it's actually not part of the procurement process. And what it does is it ensures that you understand our expectations around quality, and it's a two-way process. So you learn about us and we learn about you. So this discussion will look at responses that you've provided to these questions, and it will also ask further questions, quite often on similar areas. So we'll ask about recruitment, safeguarding, etc. But it's a two-way process. We can't really put a two-way process as part of the procurement. It's very difficult from a sort of legislative compliance point of view. But that's going to be a quality monitoring tool, the quality conversation, and this will inform that that conversation, but it doesn't stop you getting on to the list. What might happen is you get onto the list, we have the quality conversation, and we think that you need to do some work around quality in order to comply to our expectations. So you might go onto the list and be suspended for a period of time whilst we work with you. But that will be that's a quality monitoring issue. It's not actually part of the procurement. So the quality conversation doesn't stop you coming on or off the approved provider list. The scored questions, as you can see on the right hand side there, for example, question 8, quality of management, that's worth 20%. So these questions are scored. The scoring criteria is in volume 1, and I recommend that you read it and understand it. For example, there's 10 for an excellent answer, 0 for no answer, and this is applied absolutely consistently. We don't compare providers' answers. You know, we won't compare one provider with another and think, well, that answer was better than the other answer, so we'll score accordingly. The only thing we benchmark against is the scoring criteria that is explained in detail in volume 1, introduction and scope. Each answer, as you can see on the screen, has a word limit. For example, question 8 there has a word limit of 500 words. Anything over and above that, we will just simply ignore. So if, you know, the 501st word is in the middle of a sentence, we will stop evaluating that answer in the middle of a sentence, and any excess words simply will be ignored. So please do keep within the word count. However, we won't punish people for going over. We simply won't read the words that are over and above the word count. As you can see, attachments are not allowed. This is really, we're going to get a lot of responses to this procurement, and if we allow attachments, we'll be reading for a long time. So we'd like you to be succinct and put all the information into the word count. No attachments. If you do submit attachments, we simply won't read them, I'm afraid. Diagrams are acceptable as part of your response. Any words in the diagram will go towards the word limit. Please answer in the format requested and don't combine answers. I had a procurement some months ago where a provider didn't answer in the format requested. There are about 10 questions, and they simply provided a bid document which combined sort of all the questions into one, and we had to disregard that despite the fact they'd put a lot of effort into it. We need the responses in the format requested, simply to be fair to everybody. We only accept applications via the Your Tender system. I hope you're all familiar with that. There is instructions. I think Go for Growth have done some instructions on that. Volume 2 in the procurement documents does explain how to register and how to apply, etc. But we won't accept responses by email, etc. We need everything going through one system in order that we know everything's in the one place. If you're applying for more than one list, for example, supported living and residential nursing, you only need to provide one set of responses. You don't need to respond per list. So that's good news for you. You don't need to answer everything more than once for more than one list. After you've responded and we've evaluated, we will let you know whether you've been successful or unsuccessful. If you're unsuccessful, you will be able to reapply to the list. However, as made clear in volume 1, that might be when the list reopens. It's an open list, but we will be onboarding every 3 months. So you might need to wait until after the approved provider list has started and sort of the next round of admissions to the approved provider list has started. And lastly, as made clear at the top there, you'll be required to achieve a minimum of 30 points, or that equates to 60% across all of the scored questions in order to be accepted onto the approved provider list. That's an average of 6 out of 10 for each question. As I say, the scoring criteria is absolutely clear. We do feel we need to put a benchmark on quality. We haven't evaluated quality as part of these lists previously, but we do really need to assure ourselves of the quality of the providers providing care in North Yorkshire. So we've set a benchmark of 60% in order to be accepted onto the list. And just to be clear, you only need to do it once for each. In total, you don't need to do it for each list. And if you don't succeed, you can try again, although there might be, you might have to wait a few months until the next round. I think we'll probably go through all the questions right at the end. So that's it from me. I'll pass over to Hannah to do the pricing element, which is volume 4 and appendix 2.